here. Want to thank everybody for joining us today, taking the time to learn a little bit more about what we're doing. This is going to be a slightly different presentation from what we might have done before. I'm being joined today by our CTO, Matt Murray. Matt may weigh in a little bit on the first part of this presentation. He's really here to talk about the second portion, which is all the new stuff that we've got coming up. So I'm going to touch briefly on some of the new products that we've introduced in the latter part of 2020, some of the new additions to our product lines. And then Matt's going to get into stuff in the pipeline, brand new stuff for 2021. We're talking about some new categories and new technology, some of which will be publicly talked about for the first time today. But I think you guys will find it pretty exciting stuff.
Exclusive, I love it.
Yeah, in fact, there's a lot of stuff here that will be first time. So this is a pretty big sneak peek exclusive that's kind of been in development for a while. So this will be a good one.
So I realize that a lot of people on this call are familiar with us. They know a little about the company. We've also got some new additions to the Snap local group who are new to us as well. So I'm going to get into just a little bit of company background and some of the things that make us different that I think are important to know. We're not going to dwell on it too much, but as I said, it's an important part of what we're all about. You can see on this opening screen, the parent company is AV Pro Global. Under that umbrella, we've got AV Pro Edge, which is all of our connectivity product. Bullet Train, which is our line of cables. Fresco, which is our growing line of video wall and video processing product. And Conforex, which once again is a growing line of commercially oriented product. Meridio is our test and analyzation line of product. Formerly under the AV Pro header, but Meridio recently became its own entity. So it's now a sister company. We're going to talk about it today because there are some relevant items there. It's an important part of what we do. As I said, we're being joined today by Matt. My name is Steve Baker. If we haven't met before, I'm the regional sales manager here on the West Coast. You may be familiar with some of our other guys if you're elsewhere in the country. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over some of those unique things. So it's a little bit of that company background and what makes us different, because we are a different sort of entity in this space. One of the things that we talk about always first, and if you're in this business, you realize that it's an incredibly important part of what we do every day, is the support that we offer. We take a different approach than most manufacturers. One is we have a very skilled team of folks back in South Dakota. When you call into tech support, you're going to get one of a group of people all in the same area who can all see the same smart board. They can all see the incoming trouble tickets. You're not talking to somebody in a cubicle looking at a screen who has a script they're going to read. We really want to offer the most efficient, effective support we can for our dealers. Everyone is CTS certified, and they know our products inside and out. Probably the most important aspect is we do not focus on supporting our product. We support the project. If you call and we find out in the first few minutes that it's not the extender that we just sold you that is causing the issue, we're not going to tell you to hang up and call somebody else. We're going to pursue the issue and find out what it is. It's a good chance we have a product that's going to fix it. If not, then we're going to find out together where the issue is and get it resolved. So that, as I said, that's a very important part of what we do. If you talk to someone who already sells our product, they will probably bring up how different we are in that regard. We do have an edge in product development. We design, engineer, and manufacture everything in-house. That's why you see some unique technology from us. You see some very unique products. You may occasionally see a box that looks similar. That's where the similarity ends. Everything inside is unique to us. And Matt is the man behind most of this technology and product. We're fortunate to have him today to talk about some of the things we're doing. You'll find that there are products and technologies that we offer that you're not going to find anywhere else. And as I just mentioned, we manufacture everything in our factory. We own the manufacturer in China. And if you know anything about manufacturing overseas, that is an enormous advantage. We control the entire process. We're not making other people's products. Other people aren't making our products. That's why you don't see the same product coming out of our warehouse. This is an important aspect, and it means that we can get new technology from concept to market in a much quicker fashion, which in this business is important. And as I mentioned, we manufacture test equipment. That's actually where we come from. Our CEO spent about 25 years prior to starting AV Pro with a company called Sencor. If you're not familiar with them, they're manufacturers of audio and video test equipment. It means a lot to how we develop product, how we approach support. We have a different level of capability in terms of engineering and understanding of the video signal, and it definitely influences how we develop product and how we approach the whole category. We also focus on education. We have a variety of educational programs that we offer with both the VIXA and CEDIA accredited classes. And we really feel that a higher level of education among the dealer community contributes to better installations, to fewer problems. You know, most of the issues that we encounter are due to identifiable problems and things that you can avoid if you understand, you know, where those things are coming from. Once again, we're going to talk about test equipment because being able to diagnose, being able to see what those issues are is a big part of it. We always mentioned the fact that we use the best distributors nationally. Depending on what part of the country you're in, there's a very good chance you have a distributor near you. We focus on guys who can effectively support and present our products. And you know, the guys that we've worked with, Voluitone in my territory, have been just fantastic about presenting their product and giving dealers the support that we expect and that you expect. We do have a little edge in education when it comes to ISF. We have an in-house trainer by the Jason Hustle who does Joel Silver's ISF certification trainings. We've been associated with ISF for quite some time, and once again, it's about education. It's about understanding science. Calibration is only becoming more important, especially when we talk about things like video walls and understanding what calibration is and how to offer it to your customers can be a big part of your business. And then last but certainly not least, we have a 10-year parts and labor warranty on all of our products. That includes free advance replacement. You know, we really do stand behind it. You know, there's a saying that, you know, the warranty is only as good as the company behind it. If you talk to folks who sell our products, they will tell you, you know, we stand behind it 100%. Anytime in that 10 years, if you call us with an issue, we're going to take care of it. Important selling feature. So we're going to talk just a little bit about Meridio. We've got a couple of new items under that banner that are, I think, important to talk about. This is our current lineup of test and calibration equipment from Meridio. The 7G, the first one on the list there, is our latest introduction. It's really designed for HDMI 2.1, you know, the next generation of video products. It's able to measure all of the aspects of the new generation of video products. Built primarily.
I can explain these a little bit too, Steve.
Absolutely, Matt, jump in.
So the 7G, he's talking about that as the 2.1 generator. What that was actually developed for too, as new issues kind of came in with HDMI 2.0 specifically and are bleeding over into 2.1 with audio, particularly high bitrate audio. We're seeing some new latency issues, and you know, now audio video is arriving before audio, and we're just seeing kind of an opposite impact. You used to always have to delay audio to get it in line because audio was easy to process. Now, with high bit rate and metadata enhanced audio formats, there was a need to bring a product out to address these things at the manufacturing level. So this product, mildly interesting for an integrator, but it's worth noting from the AV Pro Edge standpoint because this is the kind of stuff that we build for, and in conjunction with Dolby and DTS. Sony was involved in this. Sony Pictures was involved in this. Diversified Video Systems was involved in this. SpectraCal. So a lot of concerned parties went out there, and we really started solving some of these issues by bringing this product out, which is particularly built around audio, and then it has the HDMI 2.1 stuff too. And then we do calibrator grade stuff, which is like the 6G, 6A. Those two there, that's for generating, analyzing, test HDMI signals up to HDMI 2.0. Those are getting upgraded to HDMI 2.1 or 8K as we speak. So those will be launching very shortly within several weeks this year. The Fox and Hound test equipment, that's the one that installers use every day in the field. We've been selling those for a few years now. Those are very popular, very useful, and those are getting an 8K upgrade pretty soon as well. And I guess it's worth talking about here too. If you guys own any of the Meridio stuff, there's always an upgrade path. So if you get a Fox and Hound or you have a 6G, 6A, or something that's HDMI 2.0, there's always an upgrade path for you for this stuff. And then the HDMI test monitors, we'll go along to the next slide here, Steve.
Oh, I'm trying to. Let's see here. There we go.
Okay, so these products from Meridio are excellent new ones. These are just launched late 2020, 2021. This IMSOL tester came out. The Mumon Dual, that's just a dual analyzer, 7-inch monitors, rack mounts into the rack. These are excellent to put into every system you do because one, you can set up your source devices. These have a pass-through built in, so you can monitor a specific zone if you want. But what's special about these is we don't make the glass or the panels, but what we do make is the HDMI SoC, and that is allowing for a full-on analyzer. So you can see what's going on with the HDMI signal. If you're getting what you want, you can analyze HDCP and really do some video analysis and make sure things are working, along with, like I said, one of the most common things I get feedback on is setting up sources. This is something that's incredibly useful in the rack room. The M4 Sol, that is a group effort with the company called M Solutions over in Israel. Valens is the company behind HD-based technology, and they sell their ICs, their integrated circuits, to everybody on the planet who's doing HD-based. And this company, they're kind of co-located, ideally suited to develop testing equipment for HD-based specifically, so we can test category cable runs for HD-based compliance. We can look at source devices, so transmitter devices. We can look at sync receiver devices and make sure everything is functioning and performing per HD-based. So this one is a good one for every installer really to have on the truck. It goes much deeper than, like, say, a fluke tester or something, where we're looking at how cable and how things are performing from a network point of view. These actually have the Valens ICs inside of them, so we're looking at how it's performing from an HD-based point of view, because you do need a constant, basically you need a constant 10 gig at this point with HD-based, especially with the new stuff coming out this year that gives us uncompressed 18 gig, which we're going to talk about. There was a question here about how we're going to deal with 2.1. So let's go on, Steve, to a couple slides up and just touch on the extension products quick.
Absolutely. Now, before we do that, I do want to mention that we had talked about the Fox and Hound. Matt mentioned that. There are 2 promos being run with all the Snap Locals for the first quarter that will enable you to get a Fox and Hound at an incredibly reasonable price. So I encourage you to talk to your local distributor about it. It's an incredibly important tool, very useful, and this is a rare opportunity to get one at next to nothing. So as Matt mentioned, we'll talk a little bit about some of the connectivity product.
Yeah, and this is these products here are existing. So we want to just kind of go through really briefly what we have. Lots of extension products. We were the first company to really get the HDR and 18 gig over the CAT cable link using HDBaseT. One of the things that makes us special, just to encompass all of the whole product line in itself, is the extenders. Is we try to build these with the maximum supported capabilities of the integrated circuit. So if we're using Balance and we're using HDBaseT as we are with these products, we're not piecemealing features out to the installer. We're building one that's just full featured. So if it's on the circuit, we give it to you, and we add our own HDMI processing, which is an option. If you're developing these products, you can choose to or choose not to do that. We choose to do that because we can do better compression that's more visually lossless. We can support full HDR and Dolby Vision 60 with our process. We do built-in test patterns, heated management, scaling, and different things like that. So just a really full featured product line in terms of the extenders, and just to give you a heads up on what's coming with HDBaseT, there's a new one that does currently all of the HDBaseT extenders are capable of 10 gig per second over the CAT cable. You'll notice on the slide it says we support 18 gig, but in order to do that, we have to use some compression to squeeze it over that piece of copper. So there's a new one that we'll be launching here very shortly that is uncompressed 18 gig over copper. Now, obviously, this kind of will play to this question that I got from Rick about what we're going to do about 2.1, and as these bandwidth requirements continue to increase. Well, this is a legitimate concern. If we're going to do 18 gig over copper, that's going to give us uncompressed HDMI 2.0, and some parts of HDMI 2.1 will be able to fit over 18 gig. And it's asking a lot out of a piece of category cable. So, terminations, cable quality, how I'm running the cable, all of those things become even more and more and more important to note when you're doing this over copper. But that's what our existing infrastructure is, so we need to address it. Part of his question is talking about fiber, and fiber is, we'll talk about that here a little bit later. Fiber is going to be a big part of the future in order to, reduce the strain on the infrastructure. So, all right, Steve, let's advance.
So this is the latest introduction to our line of extenders. This is the new Ex70 Uhd Arc, and it's based on what has been our most popular extender, the Ex70 Uhd, which is a 10.2 gigabit extender. We added some important features and a little bit of reconfiguration in the format to this. So it's in a new chassis. We moved all of the inputs and outputs to one end of the chassis to make installation cleaner. Most importantly, we added audio return and EDID management to this piece. The need for audio return has been growing. More and more clients want to use their display as a source. Completely understand that many integrators try to avoid that, but it is becoming more and more in demand by the client. This offers the ability to use either an analog or toslink input at the TV. So you can use the audio return path without enabling ARC on the TV if that's your preference. So you have both capabilities with this unit. It will support 4K 6420 or 4K 3444 and HDR up to 42212-bit. So it's more capable than many of the other 10.2 gigabit extenders out there. It's at a price point that makes it really unique in the marketplace. And I think it is quickly becoming our more popular extender. I don't know if Matt, you had anything to add to that?
Nope, not on that one.
We do make a wide range of matrix switches. Many of you are familiar with them. If you're not, you're going to find that we offer some very unique solutions. We offer feature sets that you typically don't find in many matrix switches. We do allow you to manage audio in any fashion you need to, depending on the demands of the job. You can bind the audio to the input, you can bind it to the output, or you can run it as a separate audio matrix. The vast majority of our switches have both analog and toslink digital outputs. We have built-in scaling, either down to 1080p or up to 4K. And we have EDID management on every input. On top of the other benefits, what this means is that there is no lowest common denominator situation with our switches. If you have a 1080p TV in the kitchen, it does not mandate that every other display on the system is going to get 1080p. Everything else will get the 4K signal that it needs, and you're not going to ask your customer to upgrade their 22-inch kitchen TV to 4K in order to alleviate that issue.
So Steve, I just got a question here, and I'm just going to kind of take them as they come because it's relevant to the product you're talking about. He asked about eArc support on the extender. We're going to touch on that quite a bit, but yeah, that extender only supports ARC. The eArc extenders, we will be launching those in the first quarter of this year, where we'll have extension products that are now supporting the eArc function as well. And that new HD-based T chip that I was talking about, that also has the ability to do it too. So there will be a couple of options. That new HD-based T product is going to be on the high end in terms of price. We're working on getting some, some of these existing Valence circuits to work with eArc by hijacking the allotted Ethernet channel. So we should have some unique offerings in that space as well too.
So to talk about a couple of the new additions to our switch lineup, we do have several models with full audio down mixing capability. So you'll take any surround format and allow you to have a down mixed 2-channel output to any other zone on the system. We recently added a 4x4 version. So now we've got a 4x4, 8x8, and our modular 16x16, which can be configured as a full audio down mixing switch. This is a popular feature that we've been asked about quite a bit. So the addition of the 4x4, I think, is an important one. I did mention the 16x16 modular. Although this has been out since CEDIA of 2019, it is, to a certain degree, a perpetually new product because it's designed to be upgraded and offer new configurations as time goes on. There are a variety of input cards you can use to configure this switch to meet the demands of the job. We've got 2 different input cards, one that offers full audio down mixing. We've got an HD-based output card and 2 HDMI output cards, one with seamless switching and scaling built in. You're going to see, and Matt's going to talk about them, some new additions to this switch going forward. So this is a platform that's going to evolve and offer some pretty exciting new technology. Concrex is our line of commercially oriented product, and most of our commercial product falls under that category. And this is an area where we're going to be focusing on quite a bit. You're going to see a lot of new product. Some of the new things that were recently introduced is a new version of our 6x2 called the CX-MF62. The MF stands for multi-format. So we added VGA and DisplayPort inputs to the 6x2. This obviously allows it to be used in those circumstances where you still need a VGA input or you need DisplayPort, and those certainly exist in the commercial realm. We also recently introduced the CX84 Auhd. This is an 8x4 switch with 2 HD-based-T inputs and 2 HD-based-T outputs. It also offers quick switch technology. So it switches 4K signals in less than 3 seconds and 1080p signals in less than 2 seconds. This is a perfect switch for many commercial applications where you don't necessarily need an 8x8, but you need more inputs than a 4x4. It's a unique switch, and so far it's been extremely successful. The EX-USB-2- kit was recently introduced, and this is a new category for us. This is a USB extender that offers honestly the lowest latency available in the market right now. It's extremely reasonably priced. And the fact is, during this whole COVID lockdown situation we've been dealing with, and everybody moving into their home spaces to do video conferencing and kind of upgrading home office areas, USB extension has become even more of a factor. So this was the right piece at the right time. Matt's going to talk more about USB 3.0 extension cables, which are coming soon. We will have the ability to send USB 3.0 over longer distances. And lastly, the ACMX88 Auhd SM. We make several 8x8 switches. This one is very unique. This really is targeted towards the commercial space and some pretty specific applications. It uses what we call mission critical scaling. It strips the HDR and Dolby Vision metadata and scales the signal. The end result is instantaneous switching. Now, it needs to be kept in mind that this is not really a piece designed for residential applications. You may occasionally find a situation where it makes sense, but it does not have the same graphic interface as our other switches. It's a little bit of a different animal in our lineup. So on this one, I recommend that you contact a sales representative and kind of get the full rundown before specifying it. But it's a very unique solution. It's really the only one out there like it. Matt, did you have anything to add?
No, just a question here from Patrick that said USB extension is important. Is there a fiber version and a copper version for that technology? That is a copper version, and that's USB 2.0 up to 480 megabits per second. We do have some fiber extension products that are in the works. USB 3.0 and 2.0 aren't agreeing with each other right now, so they're a little bit slow to kind of come to market, but we will see some cross-compatible products here shortly, I believe.
Yeah, I mentioned a couple of new Fresco items, and we're talking about video wall processing here. The Fresco Cap 4, once again, was introduced at CEDIA 2019. This really set a new standard for video wall processing at an affordable price point. It's capable of full 4K 6444 signals, although without HDR. It's cascadable. So it's a 1x4 processor as a standalone, and we'll do a 2x2 video wall. It can be expanded for up to 32 panels. What really makes it unique is both the quality of signal and the ease of setup. The interface on this is as simple as it gets to set up a video wall. There are really just 3 steps. You connect it, you measure the panels, you input the information, and generate the video wall. It's really a terrific solution, and as I said, sets a new standard at its price point. We did see some need for a step-up version, and had a lot of feedback regarding that, which led to the development of the Cap 9. Cap 9 adds HDR support, including Dolby Vision. It is a 1x9 processor, so we'll do either a 2x2 or a 3x3 wall as a standalone unit. Can also be cascaded. And this offers a new level of quality, once again, at a precedent-setting price point. This also, because of the addition of HDR, really makes it suitable for residential applications. And if you think a little outside the box, there are a lot of situations where a large direct view video system makes a lot of sense. And I think most of us are familiar with Sony's video wall solution or the Samsung wall, which look phenomenal, but don't exactly fit most customers' bank accounts. This is a solution that offers that experience at a much more reasonable price point, and is once again very unique in the market. A couple of other items under that banner. The Fresco DA116 is a 1x16 distribution amp. At its core, it's just a very good 1x16 distribution amplifier that can be cascaded to very large systems. It does have a unique aspect in that all of the outputs are precisely synced. So if you do commercial video walls, the issue that can arise there is when in the commercial realm, the processing resides in the panel and they're meant to be looped one panel to the next. Once a wall gets to a certain size, you can start to experience the popcorn effect when you switch sources, but they don't all switch simultaneously. A direct feed from the DA116 will actually solve that. They'll all switch instantaneously. And then the Video Flux, which has been on our lineup for a little while, but is gaining popularity. This is a 4x2 switch / multi-viewer. It has multiple formats on the inputs. It can accept HDMI, VGA, component, and composite, and allows you to do a quad screen, a tri-screen, or a split screen in limitless screen configurations, and is ideal for that customer who wants to watch 4 football games on their projector or large format TV, or in commercial applications where you need many times a custom configured screen layout with multiple images. I mentioned earlier, Bullet Train is our line of HDMI cables. And Matt, I'll let you jump in here because these are brand new and you may have a little bit more input than I would have.
Yep, no problem. All right, so yeah, the stuff we're going to kind of talk about now through the rest of it is kind of all new developments and things like that. And these cables are kind of our first step into HDMI 2.1. We've had AOC cables. Those are the active optical ones that are very long cables for quite some time. And we're bringing in our copper cables here as well. We've redesigned the packaging. So the big thing for the installer, I think, is going to be the fact that one, we can get these full 48 gig bandwidths. The cable, these copper cables are passive items, so they'll support the eArc, VRR, FRL, all of the functions and features coming up, but they are going to be case packed for integrators to buy in master packs. So I think that will kind of help make it a little easier to kind of outfit a truck. We've been getting that feedback a lot. These cables have been tested. One of the unique things about our company is we actually own a Keysight 20 gigahertz oscilloscope, so we can test for the physical properties of HDMI products, including cables. It's a very expensive piece of equipment. We made the decision as a company to invest in, and it has really helped propel our development cycle, give us shorter times to market, and allows us to understand what if the product that we're putting out into the market is actually worth its salt. We don't have to send it to a third-party lab to get tested, although we do. We know when we do those things, when we send them out for HDMI certifications or DPL lab certification, we already know that they're going to pass because oftentimes we have equal or better test equipment in our own facility. So let's go to the next slide, Steve. These are the AOC cables. All of our AOC cables now have Clearline cable inside, 100% of them. We've got a partnership with them where they allow us to do that. I believe that we're the only one outside of themselves that can do this. So they're full four fiber OM2 cables from Clearline with the polymer coating and everything on it, so it can be field terminatable. These are all plenum FT6. If anyone's from Canada, they're CMP as well. Or sorry, FT6 is for Canada. CMP is for us, which CMP is essentially the new plenum rating that covers all of the variations of plenum. It just gives you a single test. These are all 48 gig, 120 frames. We can do E-arc on these up to 15 meters. After that, we don't have that solved yet. They will support arc up to 100 meters. There's no power needed with these. However, we do supply one if there's a source or a sink that's not providing enough power to these, because you have to remember these cables are effectively transmitters and receivers. There's a TOSA and a ROSA. You know, it's turning data into light and turning light back into data, and that requires power to do that with these cables. And some devices just don't provide enough. They don't need a lot. They need about 5 volts, about 300 milliamps, but sometimes you just don't get it. So you may need to use a dongle. Steve's going to advance to a slide that says looking to the future, but I'm going to ask to, if you can let me share my screen, Steve. I want to show a spreadsheet here that shows all of the HDMI 2.1 bandwidth requirements and stuff.
Sure. Go right ahead.
Okay, let's share screen 5. All right, so you guys should be able to see my PowerPoint presentation now, right?
Yep, we're seeing it.
Okay, excellent. So what I want to see, now you should see a spreadsheet here. And what I normally don't like to show spreadsheets on during training events, but this one is kind of important because what I want to point out is, and this is actually a spreadsheet that we made here, and it's been used around the industry quite a bit. I literally pull all of these formats out of the HDMI 2.1 spec, and you can see that they are extensive. There's a lot of them. So when we went from HDMI 1.4 to 2.0, there was some issues because we added about 20 formats. Now we're adding about, I don't know, this is around 100 formats. So we're getting 100 new types of signals that can be sent through a distributed system. When you distill that down, what we really need to look at, and this is, I'm just pointing this out because I want people to kind of try to wrap their heads around it as simply as possible, is we only really need to be thinking about these bandwidth constraint numbers. So, you know, for instance, this 1080p 120 444 12-bit, that's an 18 gig signal. And this is right here, your uncompressed column. So you can see you have basically 6 configurations: 9 gig, 18 gig, 24 gig, 32, 40, and 48. So that's going to tell you what your products should support. And this thing is freely available. We give this to anyone who asks for it. But one of the things that I've highlighted here, if you look at the 48 gig, there's only a couple of formats that you can support with 48 gig. So that's why someone asked about the ICs and what chips and stuff are coming out. And most of them, Panasonic is probably the most common one that's readily available and coming to the market right now. It's actually the chip that all of the AVR manufacturers use that has the problem that actually doesn't support FRL and things like that. Which is all fixed, and they're launching those chips in June. But those are 40 gig because they realize, 40 gig is going to support most of most of the stuff. So as we're talking about future 8K stuff, it's just important when you're setting up your infrastructure to understand what your bandwidth is in order to understand kind of what signal quality level you're going to be, because HDMI 2.1 will automatically figure that out for you, supposedly, is what we're hoping, is it's going to be able to do a link check, understand what its available bandwidth is, and be able to go from there. So I kind of jumped ahead to 8K. So I'm ahead on some slides, but that's all right. So let's talk about this MXNet product. So this is the first time that this has been discussed in the public eye ever. And what we've really been doing over the last 2 years is, as we've been watching everybody launch their AV over IP platforms, is we've discovered that they're really not platforms. They're encoders and decoders. So what we wanted to do was build a complete platform, a complete ecosystem for an installer to use who maybe doesn't have a degreed IT engineer on staff, or does not have a Cisco certified technician on staff, because there are some inner workings to this network over, or this video and audio over network things that are very difficult, and there's a lot of different types of issues that come up. You know, it's not this, the network infrastructure was never designed to do this. So we set out to build a platform to eliminate the pain points. We're developing our own hardware, our own software. We're working on switchers and things like that, but we'll talk through the key points of the encoders and decoders. These are incredibly low power consumption, so 3 to 6 watts, 6 watts maximum if you're doing full 4K 60 444. These support Dolby Vision, these support HDR. Every single device that's in this ecosystem has a screen. So I have a little, we bought these LEDs, or these OLEDs, from Samsung, who makes the Samsung Watch. These are the little screens that go inside of your wristwatch, and we're able to put them inside of these encoders and decoders, so you can actively see what the device is connected to it. You can see the MAC ID, you can see the IP address. Makes it much more serviceable. We can do unlimited video walls with it. There's no limit on it. We can do asymmetric mosaic video walls. This is a true plug and play system, and you'll see why here on the very next slide. Audio down mixing is coming out for this immediately at launch for full Dolby Atmos 7.1 channel down mixing, shortly followed by Dante encoders and Dante decoders. This is a big part to this, and in fact, I'm going to show you a photograph here. So this is an actual photograph. The one on the slide is a 48 port, but this is just kind of a better, bigger image. And this is our 24 port MXNet switch that has what we've been kind of calling, as a working title, it's called Intelligent AV Processing. So it's fully proprietary, fully owned by us firmware, and configuration of these switches to make them completely plug and play for this ecosystem. So you get the switch from us. They're competitively priced. We didn't build a switch from scratch. We worked with a very reputable switch manufacturer to put our engineering and optimization into these, to make it really easy for installers. And here's just some looks at the software. So this is the web interface. When you log into the controller, you can access all of your sources and syncs. All of the live images are going to be pulled down. On this particular slide, you can see the 4 that are involved in a video wall. It shows what video wall they're involved in. We can see all of our outputs, all of our inputs here, and basically with the native control, I can choose what source I want and beam it over to one or many of the outputs. This is another thing we spend a lot of time on, is the actual diagnostics of this. So this is kind of your system monitoring page. We can see what the names of these are, what the video resolution is, the bit depth, the type of audio we're doing, the source. We're actually pulling the source name from the CDS, and the sync names or the TV names from the Udh. So when you hook up a receiver to a TV, it's going to say this is an LG OLED 55-inch TV. So, and all of this stuff will be presented to you here. And we could really talk a lot about this system, but we don't have that much time. 10 gig is being developed right now. In fact, it's going to be coming out as a part of this ecosystem. You'll be able to do SDVoE 10 gig as well, with switchers and everything, just as we showed with the 1 gig. The next piece that's really important for 2021 is Axiom. And what we're doing is revamping all of our SKUs. So everything is getting this Axiom overhaul, which what it's going to do is allow for simple remote firmware updating. So just like you can update a TV by going to a spot and saying search for firmware, this will allow you to do that with all of our switching devices. Much more deep control and analytics, system logging and analysis, HD-based T, signal analysis and signal logging, built-in generators and analyzers so that we can really see what's going on with our systems, and incredibly advanced DSPs, which ironically enough, as we're on this call, I just got an email from the powers that be at Dolby that this DSP is officially certified for advanced EQ control, level control, down mix quotient control, which we've been asked for a lot, where the integrator can choose, well, I really want my center channel to be more prevalent so I can hear the vocals better. We're giving you that ability in this new ecosystem. So this is kind of a look at the web interface, a diagnostic screen giving you much more system diagnostics, obviously, than you're used to. This is a control screen, and then this is just a switching screen of a 4x4. And I want to talk about fiber before we run out of time. These products are going to be out in Q1. We had a major, this is where COVID hit us very hard. We were working with a company who was developing our optical lenses. We've developed our own module, which is a patent pending. But we need lenses to make this all work. And when COVID hit, all of those lenses for optical went towards healthcare and military applications. So this slowed us down, but this is now coming out. You can see our output cards for our switchers and our low profile extenders that are coming out. These are 12 gig per channel right now. So we're already able to do 48 gig HDMI 2.1 over these. So we will be launching HDMI 2.1 extenders over fiber very, very soon. These modules themselves, we can go all the way up to 30 gig per channel is what we've tested them up to so far. And each one of these it's a 4-channel modulation over a single fiber. So basically we're setting this module up to be able to be used in the future. 8K, we're talking a lot about 8K. We're going to be starting with our 4x2. So that's our #1 selling switch SKU by a margin of 10. And it's just because it's used to bypass AVRs all the time, because you can't upgrade an AVR. Oftentimes they're very expensive. They don't work properly for HDMI, so you use this to bypass it. So the 4x2 will be coming out very soon. 8K, 10K support, 4K 120 support, 8K 120 support, all of those things will be coming out. We have a big box called Project Cento that is on the horizon for 2021, which is a 100 gig backplane switching platform. That's also going to be coming out for large uncompressed applications where we want to do, you know, big fiber, big uncompressed projects and things like that. And the last thing that we're extremely excited about is this patent pending technology here. With we're going to be starting to address the decentralization option. You know, I have a smart home myself. A lot of people do, and there's various ways that people are doing it. If centralizing the video and the audio is obviously when you have the top budget, but we're seeing decentralization happen as well, and we want to address the installer that wants to just, you know, move around eArc, especially since eArc is now its own signal, and I would consider it a reliable and feasible way to set up a system topology because it's not reliant on CEC communication. So, you know, we have a D-Arc product that's coming out, and this is an example of one. It's going to allow you to ingest a high bitrate audio signal, bring it back to a rack room, put it into a centralized AVR if you want, or put it into a local AVR if you want. Down mix it for whole home distribution if you so wish to do so. This product here is an example of a D-Arc transmitter that's going to be coming out when this launches. This D-Arc connection port is a proprietary port to us, but this machine right here, we can leverage our Dolby and DTS and DSP connections to give you now a decoded, even, you know, channel decoding. We can do object-based decoding and give you a true 3.1 Atmos soundbar, you know, or we can give you true audio decoding. So these things are all coming down the pipe. That we're very excited about, and I think we're running up on time. I'm going to see someone asked about the fiber, and yes, we're using Simplex Fiber. It's just a single LC, and in the single LC fiber, you can run one Simplex Fiber, but I always tell people just run a multi-mode duplex fiber. That way you've got two, an extra one for later on. I've got another question for Patrick. What we're doing for our MXNet is multicast. So that's the technology that we're using. And during a later on presentation, we'll show you how these system topologies can work. But we've already run system tests for 75 transmitters and 360 receivers, and we're getting ready to run a 500 by 2000 once we get some production quantities of these in. So we're doing some very unique things where most multicast systems break down. Ours does not. In fact, we've got our switching time down on this IP system. It's seamless as with most IP systems, but we're down to 2 seconds, sometimes less, even across up to 4 network switches cascaded together. So really a lot of R&D has gone into that to kind of make that experience better. So that's what I got. I know I got 2 minutes for an outro. Control drivers for MXNet. That's coming in as a last question. Yes, we have RTI right now. We have Control 4 right now. We have a I'm just going to show it because I've got another second, but this is ready to go as well. So for all the Control 4 users, this is the web app. This actually works for MXNet and the Cloud9. So we have full control drivers for switching, but we also have the multi-view dynamic video wall web app available for Control 4 right away at launch. And Savant, yes, we will have Savant. And that's what I got. I think I'm at time, guys. I really appreciate the time. I'd love to get another hour with you guys if we ever get invited back. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a ton.
Great job, Matt. Steve, I don't know if you want to elaborate in there. I just wanted to and ask, Matt, I want to make sure that I get all of your visuals. I don't know if you had 2 separate decks running, guys, but for the audience, during the break, we have another show coming up at 2 p.m. West Coast, guys. So please pass that to your team if you want to get anybody on board on that, or come back and get more specific on questions. Guys, seriously, let's hold this open. We're here. You got to bail, go for it. Get out of here. We can hold it open. So I definitely ask for your questions and we can continue this conversation. There's a whole lot of new stuff coming out, guys. So that's fantastic. Let's keep the conversation rolling. Steve, I'll bring you back in. You want to continue?
Sure, and we'll field some questions. I did want to let you know we have the one deck that we'll supply you with. We also had a request for a copy of that Hdmi 2.1 chart that Matt showed. So I have a version of that I will forward to you as well that you can make available.
Yeah, I've got some more stuff if you guys want to see more stuff too. I've got more things I can share.
Well, this definitely is a launch. I think that, the latter half of this training, once you started popping into this, that was really where the guts were. The new technology, where you guys sat in that, what your vision was going into 2021, that's really what makes this thing worthwhile. So we'll work together over the next couple hours before the next show. Get me everything and I'll get it to the guys.
All righty, we'll do it.
Let's hold it open. Steve, Matt, any more questions, guys? We're here. If anybody's got to bail out, go for it. But let's spend the next 5-10 minutes if there's anybody that needs special counsel from the experts. Let's do it.
We did have one question that said, send us everything. That might load up your box, but we have a tremendous amount of material available that we have no problem sharing. So any request for information on any of the topics that we discussed, be happy to follow up and get you all the documentation you'd like.
Well, what I'll do, yes, I mean, we can always set up a Dropbox or let this stuff reside somewhere. But what Chris Gibby and I got to do in the next few hours is kind of organize it in a sense so that it becomes linkable. Let's get subject matter kind of drawn up. I love seeing, the MX technology and how again, your vision on how you presented that. That was awesome. Matt, that the screens that you showed early in the MX portion, were those newly developed? That the visuals there and the menus and things?
This stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was, we developed all of this from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, and we have not, I mean, yeah, you guys are the first people to ever seen it. We really wanted to, we know we're the last guys to the party. We understand that, but, we also, our support team contributes a lot to this. We're adamantly, almost to a fault, supporting customers till, through anything. And we just kind of, wanted to get everything into this software so that they can go out, install this product and have some level of confidence and diagnostic understanding of what kind of is going on,
Well, look, man, the network that we have for your company, for better, for worse, but it's more for better. We are your marketing arm. You've just introduced this to 80 guys, and with the Snap AV locals, that consists of something like, thousands of dealers that later on today are going to get exposed to this. This is going to spread like wildfire. We want the questions. We want the participation from the dealers. I mean, this is going to help market this and explode this out there. We don't have the trade shows, so to speak. It's just us talking all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we have, and I'll tell you our mantra, and this is, if anyone is asking, what AV Pro is up to in 2021, Steve is probably wants to pound me because I say it all the time. It's MXNet, it's audio products, it's 8K, it's Axiom, and it's fiber. Those are our 5 kind of, that's our 5-sided star, so to speak, of the core things that we're going to be getting out in 2021. So it's a big year. And like Steve said, we really you know, we really took 2020 seriously in terms of, it was like, well, you know, we can either stop or we can either, you know, go for broke. I mean, I guess the way that I looked at it is, as an owner of the company, it was like, well, you know, either this whole industry is going to implode and we're all going to be gone, so we might as well just keep doing what we're doing, you know.
No, I mean, come on, no way. I mean, optimistically, we're all in this together. It's far too strong.
Right.
That's why we are absolutely a needed, a nationwide needed industry. So regardless, but no, keep developing. We love it. And again, our users are the guys, and thank you so much for allowing us to get a first peek at this stuff. But when you know, again, how you were, and I'm a marketing person, looking into how you're introing MX and what you held important to include in this launch, you know, the drivers and things like that, those are obvious first questions for the guys. You know, like, did you think about this so that I could actually install this on the first job that comes my way? With such and such technology, I want to add AV Pros to this. And again, this is a launch, and again, you know, a lot of these SKUs haven't really been everywhere, and now they are. So really, we're hitting stride here, guys.
Oh yeah.
And I want to make sure, and you guys are fully supportive. But I mean, there will be, you know, will there be bugs? But not that we can't figure that out. And anytime we need to do a session for any one of you dealers, and Carlos, yeah, you're talking about the Fox and Hound, absolutely, tried and true product. It's in the stores. I'll see you down there. Let's get our hands on that, because you know, you guys have a plethora of stuff going on anyway. But to go back to the new portion of this, we are the guys who field test this, you know, and that direct communication going forward over the next 6 months, so to speak, is going to be important. So any teams out there that need another session, absolutely. I do this for us. I know Steve very well. Matt, thank you for working with us, but we can introduce a session anytime. And anytime that happens, I want to blow that up to make that available for everybody else. Because it doesn't matter if we're talking to 2 people here or 120, doesn't matter.
Right.
In the conversation.
Matt, we did have a request to take a look at our website. And since you're currently sharing, maybe you want to do that. Just to let guys have a look at what it looks like and how to navigate.
So AV Pro Edge is here, and it's basically, you know, we've added some things. There's universal search that you can go across every product. If you're familiar with our stuff, is right here by SKU, and then the products are here kind of by category. So pretty simple to navigate, but we always have the new products. If you're ever just curious what's come out new, we have this page that just shows everything kind of in sequence and order as it's been launched, and you can see it and get more intel on it. Yeah, I mean, it should be pretty straightforward. And then here's the resources. I'll show you the drivers, so you'll see we're pretty solid on drivers. We know how important those drivers are, so we really invest a lot of time and money and effort and energy into that part of it. You can see QSYS. QSYS is really newer for us as we kind of move into commercial. I know that the Snap Local support some commercial accounts, and we'll need this available to them. So yeah, this is the site here, and yeah, avproedge.com.
Love it. And on that subject right there, you're right about the support. I talked about it at the intro about our support and commitment to the commercial channel. There's more than just a few out there for as far as you know, tried and true accounts that these guys have in the commercial vein. But you mentioned QSC. Guys, I've already announced my QSC training in March. I think it's March 17th. Go to the website. You'll see this at the bottom of my email today of all of the Q1 trainings that I've already implemented. So make sure you get your team signed up for that stuff. RTI as well is going to be in my in next Q1 training schedule. So great job, guys. Can't thank you enough.